Welcome to the Practice You podcast. My name is Elena Brower. Let's dive into today's conversation regarding life's myriad transitions and how we refine our responses in our relationships, our wellness, our households, our work, and in our practices. You are invited to learn and love and listen with me. Welcome to Practice You. Welcome back to the podcast. I have with me a longtime dear colleague, student, friend, retreat participant, and mindfulness and meditation teacher. I'm really excited to have you here. Cynthia Redhead, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, my sweet Elena. It's a pleasure to be here.
I love you.
Love you.
Cynthia is a meditation mindfulness teacher. She's a mentor. She's a lifetime student. Her two greatest passions are creating and teaching. Cynthia enjoys designing and crafting meditation and mindfulness classes, programs, talks, retreats, experiences. Her deepest joy is to see her students and clients befriend all aspects of themselves. This is so beautiful. I'm having Cynthia here because I've watched her grow. And if you're listening to this podcast, you know I have a whole swath of humanity on this podcast, from names that you've known, for decades to people that I've known my whole life. People that I care about, people that I'm close to, people that I'm watching sort of shine and find themselves. And this is one of those stories. Cynthia has been teaching in person and online since 2018. For you, Cynthia, teaching is not only sharing the practices and the wisdom, but also being of service. And this is important for our listener. A fair number of teachers, a fair number of people who are doing acts of service on a daily basis here, whether in your home or on your way. Cynthia supports her students by teaching them how to reconnect to themselves through the power of their breath. So her classes include sound healing, meditation, Kirtan mantra. Some of them include aromatherapy, stones and minerals, journaling, many other holistic healing modalities. Cynthia is originally from Lima, Peru. She's a first-generation Latina immigrant to the U.S. She lives in Texas. She loves to travel, as I know. So happy that you get to come with me sometimes. And you also paint, and you love your morning matcha or coffee. You love chasing sunrises. I just love to be with you again, to have a nice chat with you, to support your work, and to make sure that our listener knows about you. So the first thing you want to do, our listener, as you're listening, she has a great YouTube channel with free resources, and that is under youtube.com. And her handle there is cynthia.redhead.meditation. She is also online at cynthiaredhead.com, and you can look at her programs by clicking on programs there. Digital programs and classes also for you there as well. So Cynthia, when do I get to see you again? That's the big question.
I hope very soon.
Me too.
I hope in Costa Rica. That is always a plan.
So good. Yeah. That would be December. Talk to me a little bit about what is lighting you up lately. Our listener is most likely having some similar background to you in terms of, teaching or serving, wanting to grow and reach as many people as possible. Love to hear about what you're working on in your own self, what you're teaching at this time.
So, thank you, Lena, for this opportunity and for sharing with all your listeners and mine as well. So right now, it's an interesting season, and I love to say that word seasons because we go through many, many seasons in life, in a day, I dare to say. And right now, I'm entering a season of slowing down, actually. This summer, I am slowing down. Even though the summer, we tend to do all the things because it's and the summer for the northern hemisphere right now, right? I'm slowing down. I want to study. I want to paint for me. That's 100% for me. And just recalibrate. I'm resonating a lot with that word of recalibration and coming back to the why this journey started, why and how, and also what's next. And that recalibration, it's such a powerful pause. And it could be a pause of one day, maybe, or the whole summer. And I don't have a timeline set. I'm saying the summer, but it could be more, it could be less. To take that time to pause, to recalibrate, to rest as well. And from that place, come back to my community, to new community. And I was talking to a friend just a few minutes ago, and we were saying we are like that phoenix, the phoenix that goes down to the ashes and then comes back. It's rebirth. We are rebirthing every day, every season. And it's so powerful to watch, to observe our own processes. So while I am taking this little pause, this little recalibration, I'm actually finishing up my last month from my meditation membership that has been open for 3 years. It's been my longest project.
Wow.
And with so much love, I'm putting pause on that to then see what's next. And
Tell us
yeah.
about that project. I want to hear how you built
Oh,
it and what was involved. I'm very curious, and I'm certain that at least one of our listeners is also going to be interested in how you built that.
yeah. So the meditation membership started in June 2020. I was already teaching online. I was teaching more in person, but then the pandemic happened. So, okay, let's pivot and recalibrate. So, I started that meditation membership. It has transitioned to two different platforms, maybe three. And it's been beautiful to watch it grow. But this meditation membership consists on we sit once a week. It's on Wednesday nights with a recording, of course. And on each class, I guide my students to, well, first arrive. We always start with arriving and checking in, and then guiding my students through 2 to 3 different practices, guided meditations. Once a month, we sing, which was new to me 100%. But we sing mantras, we get a little bit out there, uncomfortable with our voices, and connect with ourselves. That was the main thing why I started that membership. Life goes and it has all kinds of waves, right? It can be slow and beautiful, and the waves can grow very, very fast. But the intention of this membership, of this meditation sitting, this weekly sitting, was to reconnect with ourselves. Where are we at this moment? And maybe explore, because that's a lot. Where are we at? It can take a lot. And maybe explore where we want to go on the next second, minute, or hour or week,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And well, it grew. That membership has the library that students can go and see all the videos from past classes or short practices, some mantra singing meditations as well, and all sorts of meditations because there are many, right? Many. And I like to invite my students to explore which one do you like in general and which one do you like today.
Mm. So
And that's
beautiful.
been, yeah, that's been my baby for 3 years.
And you're closing it down so that you can really honor this season of your life, this pause, this chapter.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. A lot is changing in these months. I feel that very strongly. Tell me, is your family here near you in Texas?
I am in Texas with my husband,
Okay.
but the rest of my family, no, at the moment, my brother was living here in Texas, or for many years. My parents are in Peru, and my extended family is also in Peru. Yeah.
Beautiful. Where in Peru?
In Lima,
Mm-hmm.
Peru.
Mm-hmm.
last time I was there was 3 years ago. So this year is definitely time. My heart, it wants to go back
Yeah,
for
I think that's a
a
priority before Costa Rica, Angel. I hate to say.
few
I hate to say for me, too. There's nothing better than having you nearby in a yoga class.
Yeah.
So, if you had a little magic ball and you could look into the magic ball and see the future like 3 to 5 years from now, what does that look like for you?
Ooh, and that makes me smile already.
Good.
Yes, that looks like I'm on a stage. I'm doing some talks on mindfulness on the day to day, and the audience is everybody in the sense of like us, the day to day, the workers, the office people, the yoga teachers, the all of us that navigate many stressful situations. And I'm talking about the little things of like traffic and the big things like a life changing news. So that's one. I see myself traveling, not a whole lot because I love my home. I love coming home, but traveling to serve different communities in a volunteer way. I've had this dream of volunteering to teach. I'm not sure if children or young adults meditation, like in Peru, in the jungle in Peru or somewhere. And also, well, I love the idea of retreats, of course.
Wonderful.
Um,
Wonderful. I like the idea of
yeah,
you teaching retreats. The way that you work, I find, is very deep and there's a long arc to it. And so a retreat is a nice chance for your student to, really dive in with you and your heart and your mind. Yeah, I like that for you a lot. And the rest of it too. Yeah, the volunteering is so important. I just started working in the level 2 men's penitentiary here in New Mexico, and it's so satisfying. We have these very potent hours together, and I can feel the transmission in both directions. So volunteering, I would say that's a big thumbs up from me,
yes.
for sure. And in terms of what you would like to kind of offer as you go forward, I find that I always want to keep studying. I just took a lymphatics training. I'm going to start Buddhist chaplaincy next year. If you had your way, money were not an issue, what would you study next?
Well, I actually just started a new journey. It's a 2-year journey, which it's the commitment makes me nervous, but at the same time, it's exciting. I'm actually a scholarship recipient for the Mindfulness and Meditation certification from Tara Brach and Jack Cornfield.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That's
And
wonderful.
it is so wonderful. And I love to share this. I mentioned I'm a scholarship recipient. To the listener that is looking to that certification or that training, that next step on career, no matter what career is, there are opportunities out there. And I live by ask and you shall receive. Yeah, I live by it. And if it's truly in your heart, right? I asked and I received, and I'm still investing, but it was definitely more closer to what I can do for a 2-year commitment. And this program is about the deepest, the teachings and on meditation, on mindfulness, on make it accessible, trauma informative. Like it's so deep that that is. I just started it this past month, so it's very exciting and I have to organize myself in a new way, like to do the homework and the videos. It's 100% online. So, yeah.
That is wonderful. What's nice about the online stuff, that was my lymphatics training too. I took it with Tiffany Cruikshank, Yoga Medicine. She's an old friend and she's very good at what she does. But it's so nice to have it online because you really can, the task is to schedule your time in. You can't just like pray that you'll get to it, And scheduling the time in it's so satisfying also for any one of us to just say, okay, Wednesday is at 4. I'm watching this week's training a second time or whatever it is. I find myself doing that too with the Upaya online courses that I take in my studies. Very cool. Very proud of you. You won that scholarship, dude. That's a big deal.
It is. And
It's a
it,
really
it was
big
such an
deal.
honor to receive it.
I
And
bet.
yeah,
I
back to
bet.
school. And I love it.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I think the last couple questions are really just heart questions. Back when I first started the podcast, I was asking this series of questions to each guest. And that has since fallen by the wayside for several reasons, mostly for time's sake. Like, I really am excited to talk to them about their lives and missions and journeys. But I feel like we've covered that ground, and I'm really curious to know, what does prayer mean to you?
Oh, I love that question. Prayer. You know, Elena, and all the listeners, there's the song from Bon Jovi, Living on a Prayer. That is actually my personal anthem. Prayer is, I practice it, I think, in two different ways. On the formal way, on either sitting on my cushion or on the bed. Sometimes I'm praying on my knees, praying to that higher power for guidance, for surrender. Lately, it's been for surrendering and for trusting. That's been lately so present for me. That's one, the formal practice, let's say. And then the day to day prayer in the sense of living on a prayer. How can your movements, your actions, your words, your thoughts, it all starts there. Your thoughts can be a prayer. Like that devotion can be manifested into what you tell yourself. And what you tell yourself at the end of the day is what you do or the next action that you take. That's a form of it. And also your movements. One of my teachers from my Bhakti training, her name is Audrey Sarkia, she mentioned, how can your asana be a prayer? Like your asana practice, your movements, let's just go with walking. How can your walking be a prayer? You're touching the ground. You can walk. You have that strength to take one step after the other one. Or let's take to movement, move your hands or your eyes, etc. So to wrap up a little bit of this question, I would say prayer for me is both an formal practice and informal, which is more of the day to day, the moment to moment. How can I dedicate this next moment to a form of devotion and devotion to myself, to my body, to my heart, to my everything? Consequence of that is devotion to my loved ones. Yeah, actually, my two favorite or my two core words are presence and devotion.
It's so beautiful to hear someone who's so heart-based and so steeped in study talk about these things and just feel like, no, there's nothing else to do. Just feel you having this experience. And it's so lovely that as humans, we get to share that just listening to each other. I feel shades of what you're feeling. It's so lovely. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our listener? Anything that you're wanting to make sure that our listener gets to see or do or feel in your body of work, in your field?
I would like to encourage each one of you to, and this is exactly how I start my practices and my teachings. And also, Elena, this is a practice that I learned from you. Bring one hand to your heart and ask yourself, how are you doing? But how are you really doing? And that's been so transformational for me because it's so easy to say when somebody asks me, how are you doing? Oh, I'm well, thank you. But how are you really doing? Let's lift the veil. Let's bring the walls down and tell me. And you can, this is a personal practice that I do. How am I really doing? Like, I'm well. Okay, there's a roof, there's food. I have my basic needs met. But what is underneath those layers.
Mm. Mm.
And then if this is a lot, let's stay here. But if you, the listener, are willing to explore just a little bit more, I would encourage you to ask yourself, what do you need from yourself at this moment? And it could be food. It could be 1 minute in the restroom to calibrate, etc. Yes, those two things. Daily, moment by moment. You could be on your desk and just do it super fast, or have a formal practice with incense and crystals and all the things.
Yeah. All the things that we love.
Of
You know,
course.
it's interesting. There's one thing that I've noticed lately. I'm 52 now, and I have noticed that I have been sort of paring down all of those things. You know, I used to have a whole altar full of everything. And now I have an altar with one drawing of Thich Nhat Hanh's, one picture of Roshi Joan, one small statue of Manjushri, and an incense holder. I don't know why. Like, it's just getting more and more simplified as things go on. And I don't know, I wonder if you've had that experience ever, or if you're still in that chapter where more is better.
I have simplified quite a lot. And I just ask myself, like that last question, what do I need today? Do I need all the things? Do I need all the crystals and all the aromatherapy and all the oils right now? Or just my breath? That's it. And that's all. So let's go back to the seasons. I think it depends on the season, and season like a full 4 months or a year, or a season of this day. What's going on today?
Mm.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I don't think we, in general, I don't think we ask ourselves enough how we're really doing and what we really need in this moment, and we just sort of go. So I appreciate that very much. Wonderful. I feel pretty much caught up with you. Your family as well. Everybody else is good.
Everybody's doing well. Navigating a few things for sure. On health, on parents getting older, but that's life too.
That is life too. Getting really good at that.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. There's a book that Roshi Joan wrote called Being with Dying that has really empowered me completely. Like, it doesn't scare me anymore, my own death, nor anyone that I love. So that might be a cool one to check out too.
I will. And I've heard it from you before, but this is another reminder too. To really look at it. And you know, the one of the teachings from this program that just started, it was like, you can live mindfully, but you can also die mindfully.
That's the point.
Uh-huh.
The best way to die well is to live well.
Yes.
Yep. Well, I love you. I'm really happy that I got to catch up with you today and selfishly have you on the podcast and chat with you. To our listener, Cynthia, redhead.com. But note, she does not have red hair.
I know.
This was highly confusing to me. What is your Instagram? So our listener can check you out there if they're on Instagram.
It is, well, the @Cynthia.redhead.meditation.
Wonderful. Which is the same as your YouTube channel as well. Great.
Yes. And yes, no red hair. It's last name from Peru. So it's just one of those bizarre.
It's so bizarre. I guess it must have been to make things simpler at some stage when things were transitioning. I mean, I guess we can mark this as part of colonization, which is so sad. No?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gosh, every day. That's my uncomfortable laughter. I'm every day understanding more and more about how colonized we all are, but in particular.
Yeah, my eyes are wide open.
Yeah. Like,
and
wow.
with a little bit of, ooh.
Yeah, like cringe. Our minds are colonized. You know, like, oh, that's such a funny last name. Oh, yeah, here's why.
But wait, uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Gosh.
Gosh, thank you. Any last thoughts that you would like to share with our dear listener today, Cynthia?
Well, I loved our conversation, and the last thoughts would be to, and I know I'm going back to a very known song, but living on a prayer is my inquiry or my invitation to all of you listeners to explore what that means to you and explore those two words that are in my core, that presence, living in the present moment or being present with yourself, what's going on, to be present for others later, and that devotion part for you, your body, your energy, and just yourself, life, devoted to life.
Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you for that. I always write a little blurb right when we finish, and there's going to be something about living on a prayer in this blurb. There's no doubt. Thank you for bringing that song back to me. And thank you for your heart, your commitment to your work. I look forward to continuing to watch you grow and evolve, deepen, soften, and reach other human hearts with your care. Thank you so much for being here today, Cynthia.
Thank you, Ellen, and thank you, everybody listening. It's the deepest pleasure.